And when John is really rich and famous, I'll be like, so just before this, I was eating cheesecake.
You ate it really fast, though.
In my mouth now.
Okay.
Cheesecake will be famous.
Hi, Faye.
Hi.
Can you tell me, first of all, what's it been like working with me?
It's been great. It's been really, really great. We had my second shift actually was with you, and you'd done a shift before, which was really nice. So you were able to show me the ropes. Yeah, and then you showed me card tricks, which was very exciting. It's been a really lovely experience.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Megan.
Hello. That's sort of pressure.
Same question.
What's it been like working with you? It's been an absolute pleasure because it's been really fun to get to know you as a person and to see you grow in confidence. That's been really nice to see. Like when we first met, you were way more shy and you used your magic a lot more, but as we've got to know each other, you actually have used it less. Like I was thinking today when I was drawing the picture on your shirt that actually I haven't seen you use it in ages, because for you that was like a conversation starter in a way to like get it was a way, I've lost my train of thought now, it was a way for you to like, you know, start conversations and stuff with people, but you've grown in confidence so much that, you know, from what I've seen, you don't need it as much, which is really exciting, but it's quite sad because magic is really cool.
The magic is
oh my god, it's so good. So yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
Faye, have you, during your time knowing me, have you noticed anything at all, and don't hold back, okay, have you noticed anything at all that could be related to my autism? Anything at all? If you just think back.
The only thing that springs to mind is what Megan was saying, in that I feel like since I've got to know you better, you seem more confident, and that like the very first time we met, you seemed shyer than you seem to me now, but that's the only thing that I can think of and that springs to mind. Yeah. So.
Okay. Do you think that it might have been? What do you think might have helped me particularly?
Well, I felt that it was as soon as we stopped just doing box office and we had like that sort of time during the show to talk, and we started talking about Falmouth and then magic tricks. I felt, and I mean it's always the way when you meet new people that suddenly you have points of connection, and then I think as soon as there was stuff that we could talk about that was common ground, I felt like I really started to get to know you a lot better, and that what Megan was saying as well about kind of the magic tricks being like a confidence thing in a way. It was really nice to be able to sort of talk about that. So I think, yeah, I think maybe that like being able to talk to people kind of outside of the context where we were doing box office and couldn't really talk to each other as much. You were very much kind of explaining to me what was going on, but I didn't really feel like we sort of talked about anything more. And then as soon as we were able to kind of talk outside of that context, I felt like you opened up a bit more. But it's always the case with people, isn't it? As soon as you've got a chance to talk to people and find out what you share, then I don't know, people grow in confidence. I think I do the same thing. Yeah.
Megan, how do you think I am with people in general?
That's a very broad question.
How do you think I am socially? How do you think I am interacting with people, like at the box office, for example? You've
got your own way of doing things, which I think can be a blessing and a curse. But I think you make it a blessing, which is exciting, you know, because obviously if you've got your own way of seeing the world and your own way of interacting with other people, it can make it difficult. But the way you do things, you're very honest, firstly, you know, which makes other people feel more relaxed, and you know that it shows that you're more thoughtful of how you're coming across, and therefore you know how they're feeling in the situation. So I think that, you know, your honesty and your awareness of how you think and how you are shows that you're in fact a very good people person, because you're being so thoughtful as to, you know, how you're making other people feel.
Yeah, I've noticed you being someone who's incredibly solicitous and incredibly aware of doing things for other people and aware of kind of the impact that you have on people, and therefore incredibly thoughtful to making sure everyone's comfortable, and like even things like just being so good at knowing when something needs to be done and doing it. Like there are a lot of people who don't really notice that, where I've always found that like you're very good at being aware of when something has to be done, or when someone needs something, like needs something to be done or whatever. Like I think very much a people's person.
Do you think that, to both of you, do you think that being in the city might have heightened that side of my personality? Or
I think it's less to do with the city and more, I don't know, I mean, on the one hand you could say no, it's more to do with the fact that you're just being thrown into a new situation with lots of new people, but then you could link that with the city and the fact that you're constantly having to find your own way around places that you've never been before. You're walking through streets that you know, but you're not seeing people that you know every day. Every time you walk through it there's new people, so it's, I guess you could argue both points.
Yeah, I think because I found like it's only recently that I moved to London, and to me it feels very, very different because it's so busy, and like kind of in a way the Finborough is a microcosm of that. There are all these new people that you're meeting, and that like because there's quite a lot of us working here, it's not like you've got like the 3 people you always do your shifts together. Like there is a high turnover of people, and in a way I guess that is kind of like somewhere in London you never really see the same faces twice, and it does feel like in a way you're very much you're kind of dependent on yourself as an individual more, because if you're in a new place, like people don't already know you kind of have to go through that process of making people know you, whereas like if it's somewhere smaller like where I live, like people already know you, you've already got that context. So I guess like you say, I think they're linked, like in a way Finborough is quite a similar experience to being in a city.
so do you think being in theatre might be a good profession for someone on the spectrum?
Yes. I think it is, because the theatre industry generally is a very open, accepting place full of open, accepting people, and the whole point of theatre is to explore things and to look at different things and to look at new things and to find ways of working and ways of projecting ideas. So it's the perfect place for anyone who feels like an outsider, I think, because it's
I also think it's kind of what you were saying about people. Like I think a lot of people who work in the theatre do it because they like how collaborative it is, and they like people, and they like producing something that's creative with other people. And I think that generally people who are like that and who are kind of people's people, so to speak, that they're more sensitive towards how someone's feeling, and they're more interested in other people, and in that way it's a more open environment than I think a lot of workplaces are.
Extending that question to the city, going back to the city, do you think that the city could be a good environment for someone on the spectrum or not?
I think it depends on their who they're surrounded with. If they go to a city and don't know anyone, it's extremely overwhelming, because especially in London, like everyone's got a place to be and no one talks to each other and everyone's like in their little zone, so
it can be quite unfriendly.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be extremely overwhelming. But if you're in a situation like you're in, where you're thrown into a specific situation where people are forced to interact and therefore become friends, you're surrounding yourself in this protective bubble of friends and family and people that you know and trust and love, and because you've got that kind of boundary around, not boundary, that kind of like cushion of people that you know, that kind of makes it easier therefore for then going out into the city more and interacting more with new people, because you've got that barrier is the wrong word, cushioning effect of
I found this, that when I moved to France to live in a city on my year abroad, like as soon as I had a context in which I was getting to meet people, then cities can be very welcoming places because there's so much going on, and like there are so many social spaces where you can hang out with people. But it's having that way of getting to meet people, because I think cities can also be incredibly lonely places if you don't have something like a workplace, or I don't know, a uni or a gym or whatever it is in which you get to talk to people. Otherwise you're in this weird situation where there are kind of all these people, but like you say, everyone's making a beeline for where they're going to have to go, and everyone like kind of isn't ready to interact. Whereas sometimes in smaller places or in villages, people are more kind of more welcoming, more ready to talk to people without a context. So I think it very much depends on the way of being.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you have to throw yourself into a hubbub to then, you know, because if you're not thrown into a situation where you're interacting with people and you're just an outsider, you're never going to truly, you know, be integrated into the city and into the life in that city, because you haven't found a way in to interact with the people. So